Hello, I'm Matt and welcome to Badger Workshop. So last week I built this table. Now I want to build some benches to go with it. So I want the bench to fit under the table, so I need it to be 110 centimetres long. I've got some treated 4x2s, so I'm going to get them marked out and then I'm going to set up the miter saw to cut them down. I set up a stop block and then I can get 4 pieces cut to the same length. Now I need 2 shorter pieces. Now I had in my head that it needs to be shorter by 1 width of a 4x2, but that's wrong. It needs to be shorter by 2 widths. So I realised my mistake and actually got them cut to the correct size. Now I was clearly having a bad day because that was the first of many mistakes on this project. So the table was about 10 centimetres higher than a normal table, and this stool actually was the perfect height, and that's 50 centimetres. So I could get that marked out and get the bits cut for the legs at that height. I only needed 2 bits cut at the full height, and then I need 4 bits that are shorter by 1 width of a 4x2. Well, that's what I thought I needed, but this is mistake number 2. I just haven't realised it yet, but maybe you have. Now I'm using the table as a workbench, but I don't want to get mucky, so I've got a sacrificial bit of hardboard to go on top. So the configuration of the bench top is 2 longer pieces, 2 shorter pieces, 2 longer pieces. Now I can start getting them glued together. Get some glue applied, get the second piece on, and get them clamped together to help hold them in alignment while I can get some screws driven in. Now the shorter pieces can go on in the same way, but these get inserted by 1 width of a 4x2 from either end. And I'm just going to get these glued and screwed into place, and then I keep doing the same thing all the way along. Now this saves on using clamps, but if you didn't want any screws showing, you could just clamp the very last board in place, then you'd have none visible. So the top's glued and screwed together, and I went to put the base together. Now, when I cut these, I cut a mirror image of the top, and I had 6 bits for the top, so I cut 6 bits for the legs. And that'd be fine if I was making a bench with 1 leg. But I'm not. So I'm an idiot, and I need to cut another 6. So I'll spare you the filming of that. You can just laugh at me. Luckily, because I've not glued these together, I can use these parts to set up the stop blocks exactly the same again and cut them all the same. So I'll get that done and then we can get the legs put together. So with mistake 2 rectified, I can start getting it put together. And it goes together the same way as the top, but it's mirrored. So the shorter pieces are on the outside and the longer pieces are in the middle. Now I painted the table base with this alfresco chalk paint, so I'm going to do exactly the same for the legs of the bench. I just leave the bits bare where there's going to be a glue joint. So just having a test to see how this all goes together. Now this first one fits in absolutely perfectly. Unfortunately, this second one, not quite so much. If I had a bandsaw or table saw, I'd rip a slither to go in there, but I don't, so I'm just going to have to cut 2 pieces on the miter saw. I'm going to start by getting the easy one installed that actually fits. So I'm just going to get some PVA wood glue, outdoor grade obviously, as it was for everything. Spread out and then put into place. This first one goes in perfectly, a really nice tight friction fit. With it in, I get my largest square and check it, and it's just slightly out, so with a rawhide mallet I can give it a little tap and that's perfect. So this video is sponsored by ITS, and it's the ITS End of Tax Year Saving Event. It runs from the 29th of March to the 6th of April. With the taxman ready to collect, make sure you stock up on all your essentials before the end of the tax year. Use the code TAXYEAR to save an extra 10% off on selected lines of storage, accessories, workwear and more. Go to its.co.uk for all your tool needs. Now I've got a big build coming up and I need lots of screws for it, so I got some of their vault screws that are on offer. Definitely get a good deal with 10% off and these larger boxes, so go check it out. Thank you, ITS. So I've got these long timber lock screws that are going to go through the tenon, and this is going to save clamping. So I can just get a couple of those driven into place. So now for the problematic leg. I suppose this is not really a mistake, it's just a problem I had to deal with. Anyway, I get the glue applied and get it put into place in the same way, and then I get those little slithers I cut and I get some glue applied to them. Now, they are the wrong way round, grain orientation wise, but I don't think you'll really notice when they're in. I can then use the rawhide mallet to tap them into place, and they're a really nice snug fit. A couple more of these long screws just lock everything into place. I'd finished the tabletop with some boiled linseed oil, as it's really cheap and it will just darken this up, and it's easy to apply more coats over time if needed. So that's what the bench is getting as well. So I get a coat on and then leave it overnight to dry. So with the finish dry, I'm now going to get the same protective feet installed to the bottom so it'll never be sat on wet ground. So that's it all done. A simple chunky bench that's definitely got some weight to it, and it fits perfectly under the table. Now I would like to make a second bench, but I've got a project coming up that is using some more treated 4x2s, so I'm going to wait to see what scraps I have left over, because it's a perfect project to use them up. So that's it all done. I've got a bench to go with the table. Now with it getting a bit more spring-like, I can move this outside and sit outside. I can use the table in here and the bench in here as an extra work surface, and actually I think with the lights I've got in here, it might be quite nice to even have the door up and sit out here in the evenings. Now I ran into the problem of the timbers being slightly different size and not going together perfectly, so if I still had a thicknesser, I'd probably run all the bits through that, taken off the rounded edges and got all the bits down to exactly the same dimensions, and that would have eliminated those problems. So if you've got a thicknesser, you could definitely do that. But I don't have one at the moment, so needs must, and it all worked out in the end. So thanks for watching. Thanks to my patrons, and please subscribe for more videos.